What is happening, people? It's your boy Delboy from WRESTHINGS, and we're back for another episode of 5 on it. Yes, I said it, 5 on it. The original one. Not the one that these other people are doing, is it? Imitation's the best form of flattery, and of course, they have to come to the original if they want to get the best content. But today, we're going to be talking about, you see, best wrestling matches. Like, we talk about the matches like AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels, Okada versus Kenny Omega, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero at Halloween Havoc. These are matches that people know, and these are the matches that, as a wrestling fan, you have to have seen. Today, I'm going to talk to you about 5 matches that you probably have never seen or even heard of. Let's get into it. Alright, so for this list, I'm going to try leave WWE because I feel like everybody watches those companies, innit? So let's take a step to the indies or, yeah. So first up, we're gonna take a trip to Ring of Honor. Let's take it back to 2015, one of my favorite matches of all time. For me, I said it in one video that Jay Lethal was one of the best black wrestlers within that decade from 2010 to 2020. We're gonna go with his match against Jay Briscoe. It was a unification match for the TV title and the World Heavyweight title. And I feel like I've said this on so many different podcasts. For me, when it comes to mid-card titles, I want them to feel just as important. And around that period, if you said to me Jay Lethal was the world champion, even though he was holding the TV title, I'd believe you. This match is amazing. Like, there was so much on the line. Both titles were on the line. Jay Briscoe's streak was on the line. And it wasn't fully like filled with like false finishes. Of course, you're going to get like the Jay Driller on the announce table. Like, you're meant to get that on the World Heavyweight title match, but it was just an immaculate match. So if you haven't seen that, and I'm sure you haven't seen it, make sure you go and check that match out. That match is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Big up AJ Styles. For number 2, we're going to leave Ring of Honor for a brief second. Well, we're not coming back to Ring of Honor. We're going to go to PWG, and we're going to talk about Keith Lee versus Donovan Dijak. You're probably thinking I'm mispronouncing his name, but no, in the Indies he was named Donovan Dijak. And this match was more or less Donovan Dijak's send-off to WWE. Obviously, Keith Lee was going to obviously later follow him. But this match, I'm not going to lie to you. Imagine Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, but with men at the 250, 300-pound mark. You know, we're getting suicide dives, we're getting topes, we're getting moonsaults, but we're also getting the heavy lifting power slams. And I know you're probably looking at this video like, wow, they put that match. But for me, I know this match gets a lot of slack, but yeah, I mean, I would have shaved off 5 minutes. I probably wouldn't have allowed the match to start that way. But if you look past the way it started and, the timing, it was a crazy match. Like, what more do you guys want? You guys like people doing this all the time. And it had that, it had the super kicks, it had the elbows, it had the moonsaults, it had the power slams, it had everything. So, I mean, for me, this is a great match. And, they've obviously gone on to do good things in WWE. Dominic Dijak now became Dominic Dijakovic, then became T-Bone, then T-Bar, then T-Russ, and T-everything is it. T-Rex, so yeah, man, mate, if you haven't seen that match, make sure you do. And if you don't want to watch the match, just go watch the highlights. The highlights probably make it seem way better than it actually is. For number 3, we're going to leave PWG, and we're going to go to NWA TNA. Raven versus Jeff Jarrett. I'm not going to lie to you. For me, this is at that time, one of the best matches in TNA history. As much as, it was still, TNA was still a new company. But I think you guys have to realize this. Raven had been one of the biggest stars in ECW. He'd gone on to WCW. A lot of high things were expected of him. He didn't have a bad run. It was decent. It wasn't great. He then went back to ECW, and then obviously went to WWE. And the disparity of him being one of the biggest stars in the world to then just being someone that's used for hardcore matches, and man's walking around with a skirt and blouse looking, I don't know, like, it didn't make sense, innit? So by the time he's coming to TNA around 2003, I'd say that his career was more or less coming to an end. But the right thing, I mean, Jeff Jarrett gets a lot of slack for booking himself as this, like, Triple H around that time as well. But what did they do? They made Raven seem just as important as he did in 1997. The match was a good blend of both of their styles. They had the technical wrestling style from Jeff Jarrett, mixed with a bit of the hardcore style from Raven. The match had a few interferences. As much as Raven didn't win, but it made us realize how good of a wrestler Raven really is. So for that is my number 3. Make sure you guys go and watch that. This was around the time that TNA was a pay-per-view. They only done that monthly shows, so you know the anticipation. This was one of their biggest build matches, so make sure you guys go and check that out. I would not recommend it if it wasn't good. For number 4, we're gonna leave TNA. We're gonna leave America. Let's forget. We're gonna go to Congo. No, I'm chatting rubbish. We're gonna go to Japan, and we're gonna go to All Japan Pro Wrestling. This is 1994. It's Misawa versus Tawada. And if any of you know about the 4 pillars of wrestling, 4 pillars of heaven, then you'd love this match. This was the first match in 1994 to get 6 stars. So you can imagine at that time, it was crazy. And you know, you already know what you get with these kind of matches, you know, stiff shots, kicks, punches, massive power moves, everything. Like, I promise you, if you watch this match, you're gonna look at the clothesline from hell and think, that's like a slap from your mum or from your auntie. Like, it just looks like small beating, you know what I'm saying? But though, that match over there, amazing. And I know like the wrestling style has kind of changed. Like, if you look at a lot of the 5-star, 6-star matches that have happened in the last, let's say 10 years, it's very different from what happened in 1994, but it's still something to be appreciated. And of course, not every wrestling fan has seen it, because not everyone is aware of All Japan Pro Wrestling, or even just a lot of the Japanese stuff that happened in the 90s. So make sure you guys go and check that, because like I said, I wouldn't recommend it if it wasn't a good match. And for number 5, one of my favorite matches of all time from 2 of my favorite Japanese wrestlers. It is Marufuji versus Kenta at Autumn Navigation in Noah. So, mate, I'm not gonna lie to you, even as I'm speaking about this, look in my eyes. Look in my eyes. Look, I don't know if you're looking, open them. I'm invested. I'm invested. What do I even say about these 2 people? Like, everybody knows Kenta's a legend. Everybody knows Marufuji's a legend. You know what I'm saying? These are, like, if you're watching this match, these aren't men that are slapping their knee. Like, I don't even know what to say. But it's crazy. These are 2 people that have, you know, at the time they were the aces of the junior heavyweight division. They've tagged with each other. They've been rivals with each other, and it's so crazy because these 2 are. If you knew who their mentors were, you've got Misawa. You've got Misawa, and you've got Kenta Kobashi as both of their mentors. Like, these are 2 of the biggest names in Japanese wrestling. You already know that the storied rivalry from there is going to be crazy. So if you want a match with high spots, check. Strong strikes, check. If you want a match where you're going to be concerned for their health, check. And it's all for the it's for the GHC World Championship. So these are 2 people that have come from the junior heavyweight division, made their way to the top, and they're both fighting to see who is the true ace of Noah. And that is my 5. If you guys have got any recommendation for matches that I've not mentioned, maybe some matches I probably haven't even seen, make sure you guys leave a comment, make sure you guys like, make sure you guys re-trigger that subscription. And also, here's a reminder, we are the real 5 on it. Don't let these dabbing ass niggas tell you that they're 5 on it. We're the real 5 on it. Bow!